Hey, this is John Carlos, and I am here to review the NECA Ultimate TV Series Chucky action figure by NECA. Here's a look at the inside of the flap. Man, oh man, do I love Chucky figures. As long as NECA keeps making Chucky figures, I'll probably keep buying them. And Lord knows there's enough variations between the different movies that they could keep making more and more. For example, here is this figure compared to the Bride of Chucky figure and the first Child's Play 1 figure. And you can see just the differences in like the color of his overalls. These are much darker. These have kind of faded over time, which is a bit of a bummer. These are more of a vibrant blue. Also, between the various movies, like just between Child's Play 1 and 2, and then from that to Bride of Chucky, and from that to the show, his head shape has changed a bit from like project to project. I mean, his face shape in season 1 and 2 of Chucky is considerably different than some of the previous versions, and these sculpts for this head and the alternate heads that come with all reflect that newer design, which I think NECA has done a pretty good job with. As far as like the shape of his chin, the eye placement, the length of his hair. We'll take a closer look at some of those other heads in a moment. Also, I think they did a great job with the details on the body. I mean, if you look at the little construction and cowboy, and baseball type stuff that's all over his overalls, they look really good. The lines on the sleeves, the paint lines on his shoes, all look really good. The one thing that happens with a lot of NECA figures that is unavoidable is when you move the elbow joint, the paint that's in there does flake off. That goes with this arm. It's already happened, and has already happened with this alternate arm, where all this kind of burnt stuff that was painted on just, like you see, just flakes right off. And speaking of that alternate arm, this alternate head, those syringes, and that hand with the little middle finger flipping up are all specific to one episode set in the hospital in season 1. I think this head in particular looks pretty awesome. I think that's a great thing for NECA to focus on and to include in this set. The melted bits, the little floppy bits, and the paint with the red and the darker wash over the little stuff kind of hanging out over the red parts. The use of different color tones within this sculpt, this layered sculpt, is just great. Especially with his eye. Like, it does sink down in the show, so I love that it's not level, and you do get a sense of depth to it in there with that little bit of white edge on there. Detail within the mouths of all of these alternate heads are really, really good. Especially, I mean, I like this face quite a bit, but especially the mouth in this one. I really, really like this head quite a bit. I like all these heads, to be honest. Here's a better look at that burnt arm and the little burnt, stuff on his left shoulder. You can see a little bit there on the sleeve and a little bit on his hand there. We have two grip hands, because the figure starts off with relaxed palm hands. We get this standard kind of steak knife, kitchen knife, and then these little bundles of syringes. There's 3 of them. If you look closely in the episode, he grabs like 4, and then it switches the continuity. He ends up having like 5 in his hand, then he grabs a bunch, but still, 3 works. In this scale, if you try to do 5, I feel like it would be a mess and wouldn't fit in his hand. Lastly, we have this excellent hand. Just one little moment in the show. It's such a brief moment, but I love it. And sure, it may be a brief moment in the show, but over the course of the movies, Chucky has flipped off several people, so the inclusion of this hand is pretty great. This knife fits into the right grip hand perfectly, although I will admit my right shoulder joint is starting to get a little loose just right out of the box. In any case, I think this knife with this face is just kind of a classic look. I really, really dig this a lot. Here's his complete hospital look, and I gotta say, the way the extra meat, the melted meat, meets the shoulder and rests on it, the rubbery texture of it, it's great because it doesn't look like it's floating too high and it doesn't hang too low and resist and create a problem. It's kind of perfect. I really, really dig this look, especially the little flops of hair that hang out over the edge there. Here's the quote-unquote complete hospital look, with the syringes representing the killing and the middle finger representing the end of that sequence. Now I gotta tell you, the left grip hand that's part of the burned arm has a wider grip, so it doesn't hold the syringes as well. You have to kind of angle the syringes so they get just right between the thumb and index finger. It turns out the alternate left grip hand is also a little bit wide, so I have to like twist the knife and try to get it at just the right kind of pinch point to raise up and not fall out. Now, if I had any nitpicks about this figure, it'd be that I wish it came with a second set of syringes, because in the hospital scene, he eventually grabs more syringes and with both hands just start stabbing away. And I think it'd be cool if I could have this figure double-fisted as well. But that's really my only complaint. This figure retails for 35 bucks, and for considering how small it is, that's kind of a lot. But at least, you know, if that's the price point NECA is going to be going with for Ultimate figures now, at least it comes with a total of 4 heads to kind of make it worth your while. Like, I'm certainly satisfied. Especially, I'm satisfied by this head. I know these other heads are more expressive, and this one's probably the least exciting, but I think it really does capture, like, Chucky's resting face, like, perfectly. I think that's a really, really great sculpt, and I'm really, really happy with it. And I'm really, really happy with this figure. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this figure, and if you want to be up to date with all my latest reviews, be sure to click subscribe.